Oh, me, Sylvie, no? Yeah. These are 14 persons. Do we have remember the first? And good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
We are 2 minutes past 11. Just waiting on the confirmation of all of the speakers from that first group. Let me see. Who do we have here?
Morning, Sir Trevor.
Hey, morning, brother Neville. How are you?
Okay, getting myself ready.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't seen the agenda.
It should supposedly on this on the share screen that we have here. You'll have it in a jiffy.
What I do?
Just wanted to, yeah, you'll have it.
When do I start?
Confirm you're at the fourth panel.
Okay.
Which is, yes, where you will deal with the as I indicated to you yesterday, the medical related.
Good morning, guys. We have started recording and live streaming. So can you please communicate via chat, private chat?
Okay.
I hope. Good morning.
Good morning, Neville. How are you?
Armando and Yam Sao, how are you? Great.
Good morning, doctor. And for everyone.
Yes.
We just want.
La muerte, con su impecable función de artesana del sol, que hace héroes, que hace historias y no sé de un lugar para morir en esta tierra con el futuro. ¿Qué ejemplo se ha convertido en puñal? Se ha convertido en fusil, se ha convertido en la trinchera de la voluntad, de la palabra amar, de la conciencia y de la muerte. No hay nombres de los que caen en las costas, de los que caen en los montes, del que cayó con el machete en el mismo lugar que tiempos más atrás cayeron otros sin nombre. A los héroes se les recuerda sin llanto, se les recuerda en los brazos, se les recuerda en la tierra, y eso me hace pensar que no han muerto al final y que viven allí donde haya un hombre presto a luchar, a continuar. No hay nombre de los que caen en las costas, de los que caen en los montes, del que cayó con el machete en el mismo lugar que tiempos más atrás cayeron otros sin nombre. A los héroes se les recuerda sin llanto, se les recuerda en los brazos, se les recuerda en la tierra, y eso me hace pensar que no han muerto al final y que viven allí donde haya un hombre presto a luchar, a continuar. La, 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 la.
Good morning again, and thanks for that homage to Fidel, brothers and sisters. Today's program will be, I'll be co-hosting with my sister in struggle, Oma.
The organizers are not accepting liability for any false or libelous statements by anyone participating in this forum. Profanity, other forms of offensive language, personal attacks, and boisterous behavior are prohibited and will result in removal from the forum. Thank you for your kind cooperation.
Okay, good morning again, brothers and sisters. Today's program will be co-hosted with my sister, Hope McNish. And what we plan to do today is to have what is called a Jamaican salute to Fidel. This will be reflected in a broad representation of youth who are the next generation of the leaders of our solidarity movement, our experienced soldiers who have been standing up with our sister country over the years. We'll have reflections from statesmen, some who have gone before.
Excuse me, Trevor. Could you pause a bit? Trevor?
Yes,
Could
I'm
you
here.
pause one moment? We're getting an echo.
Yeah,
We are getting a delay and an echo.
Yes,
Is
I heard
anyone
that.
using more than one computer? You would need to turn off the sound on one of them.
Yeah, because we are getting a feedback. I heard.
Right. If anybody is using more than one.
Yes, I'm hearing it.
Or more than one device. If you're using both your phone and your computer, you have to turn off the sound on one of them. All right. My apologies, Trevor. Go ahead, please.
There's no problem. Yeah, so we had reached where we'll also be getting reflections from some of our statesmen. Some were born before and others that are here. We'll also be hearing from our Cuban brothers and sisters who are standing up, are standing in the trenches in defending and struggling for a better world. Finally, we'll be having presentation from our cultural ambassadors who will be using their art form to highlight our struggle and to, as part of their contribution in defeating imperialism. Before going into the program further though, I just want to make a few brief comments on Fidel. And for me, Fidel is the embodiment of Jose Marti's immortal words, homeland is humanity. And if you take it in biblical terms, it actually means being your brother's keeper. We in Jamaica and across the world are seeing this in very practical terms. The magnificence of this action can also be seen in the fact that they are experiencing and have been experiencing for close to 60 years. One of the most pernicious, brutal, and illegal blockade. We are saying, just to reflect and just to think about it, if what Cuba is doing for the world in the current context, Cuba had an economy and a country that was not being under the jackboots, the knees of the empire. Just imagine what the magnitude of the contribution that Cuba can be. Our first item on the agenda is a presentation by Fernando Lord, who is the head of ECAP, and who have a message for us as members of the Solidarity here in Jamaica and in the wider world.
Entrañables amigas y amigos, nos convoca hoy una fecha de extraordinaria significación, el 94 cumpleaños de nuestro invicto comandante en jefe, Fidel Castro Ruz. Arribamos a este nuevo aniversario en circunstancias muy difíciles, en una lucha contra una inédita pandemia que amenaza el curso natural de la humanidad, y en el caso de Cuba, resistiendo además un acoso sin precedentes por parte del imperialismo yanqui y su bloqueo genocida, a la vez amenazados a nivel mundial por un sistema capitalista en crisis. Nuestros máximos enemigos y oponentes tratarán de debilitarnos con sofisticados programas de dominio ideológico a través de los medios de difusión masiva, las redes sociales y otros medios, en su afán de exterminio del socialismo en nuestro país y con ello de los anhelos de igualdad, equidad, independencia y soberanía de nuestros pueblos. En esta estrategia global del imperio son blancos prioritarios los jóvenes para evitar en desigual batalla la continuidad de las ideas y eliminar el relevo. Ante la compleja realidad que se nos impone, acudimos una y otra vez a Fidel, a su sabiduría inagotable y a su capacidad para comunicar, explicar y convencer, enarbolando siempre la verdad como principio, su creatividad y su optimismo aún en las circunstancias más adversas, a su confianza total en el pueblo y a su fe infinita en la victoria. Su gigantesca figura y estatura moral nos guía y nos acompaña, nos advierte y alerta, nos anima en cada batalla y cada tarea, nos ratifica que cuando un pueblo es digno, culto, valiente y unido, ese pueblo es invencible. Fidel sintetiza en su pensamiento y en la práctica el arte de la revolución verdadera. Su legado universal e internacionalista constituye un acervo valioso para combatir debilidades y confusiones y adquiere una importancia estratégica en la coyuntura mundial en que estamos viviendo. Nos indica con clarividencia el camino inalterable que debemos continuar llevando. En este día tan especial de recordación, desde la sede del Instituto Cubano de Amistad con los Pueblos, en nuestro 60 aniversario, llegue a ustedes, defensores de la Revolución Cubana, nuestro agradecimiento nuestro compromiso renovado de resistir y avanzar, de perfeccionar y consolidar el socialismo, de multiplicar nuestra vocación solidaria e internacionalista, de ser fieles a las ideas y enseñanzas del comandante en jefe. Hasta la victoria siempre. ¡Viva Fidel! ¡Viva la eterna amistad y solidaridad entre todos los pueblos del mundo!
Thank you. There was an attempt to have English subtitles for this presentation, and our brothers at the Cuban Embassy is asking us if we do allow a screen share, they will be able to project the English subtitles.
Yes, please.
So I crave your indulgence for us as mainly English speakers to let this happen. Thank you.
We need the host to allow us to share the screen.
Pambana, can you allow?
Sorry, that would be Hope. Are you
Okay,
able?
I'm gonna do it, Pambana.
Thank you.
Entrañables amigas y amigos, nos convoca hoy una fecha de extraordinaria significación, el 94 cumpleaños de nuestro invicto comandante en jefe, Fidel Castro Ruz. Arribamos a este nuevo aniversario en circunstancias muy difíciles, en una lucha contra una inédita pandemia que amenaza el curso natural de la humanidad, y en el caso de Cuba, resistiendo además un acoso sin precedentes por parte del imperialismo yanqui y su bloqueo genocida, a la vez amenazados a nivel mundial por un sistema capitalista en crisis. Nuestros máximos enemigos y oponentes tratarán de debilitarnos con sofisticados programas de dominio ideológico a través de los medios de difusión masiva, las redes sociales y otros medios, en su afán de exterminio del socialismo en nuestro país y con ello de los anhelos de igualdad, equidad, independencia y soberanía de nuestros pueblos. En esta estrategia global del imperio son blancos prioritarios los jóvenes para evitar en desigual batalla la continuidad de las ideas y eliminar el relevo. Ante la compleja realidad que se nos impone, acudimos una y otra vez a Fidel, a su sabiduría inagotable y a su capacidad para comunicar, explicar y convencer, enarbolando siempre la verdad como principio, su creatividad y su optimismo aún en las circunstancias más adversas, a su confianza total en el pueblo y a su fe infinita en la victoria. Su gigantesca figura y estatura moral nos guía y nos acompaña, nos advierte y alerta, nos anima en cada batalla y cada tarea, nos ratifica que cuando un pueblo es digno, culto, valiente y unido, ese pueblo es invencible. Fidel sintetiza en su pensamiento y en la práctica el arte de la revolución verdadera. Su legado universal e internacionalista constituye un acervo valioso para combatir debilidades y confusiones y adquiere una importancia estratégica en la coyuntura mundial en que estamos viviendo. Nos indica con clarividencia el camino inalterable que debemos continuar llevando. En este día tan especial de recordación, desde la sede del Instituto Cubano de Amistad con los Pueblos, en nuestro 60 aniversario, llegue a ustedes, defensores de la Revolución Cubana, nuestro agradecimiento nuestro compromiso renovado de resistir y avanzar, de perfeccionar y consolidar el socialismo, de multiplicar nuestra vocación solidaria e internacionalista, de ser fieles a las ideas y enseñanzas del comandante en jefe. Hasta la victoria siempre. ¡Viva Fidel! ¡Viva la eterna amistad y solidaridad entre todos los pueblos del mundo!
Thank you. Thank you, my compañeros at the embassy. Our next session will be looking at our local solidarity groups giving their presentations on the legacy and life of Fidel. We will begin with a video from Rochelle Ferguson, a member of the Westmoreland branch of the Jamaica-Cuba Friendship Association.
Okay, can I just go through the lineup for this session? All right, so we have Rochelle Ferguson, member of the Westmoreland branch of the Jamaica-Cuba Friendship Association, and also she's a member of the powerful Association of Clubs in Petersfield. And the next presenter after that will be Queen Aroba Bernard, who is a registered nurse and with a Bachelor of Science degree, and she's a member of the Jamaica Peace Council. And after that, we'll have Osvaldo Cardenas from the Association of Cuban Residents in Jamaica, who has the distinction of having been present during the July 26th action, that historic event. All right, so can we go ahead and show the video? Thank you.
Good day. As a member of the Jamaica-Cuba Friendship Association, Westmoreland chapter, today I am honored to deliver this speech on the behalf of Mr. John Matthias Brown. Today we celebrate the 94th birthday of one of the greatest leaders the Caribbean and the world has ever seen. In the Caribbean, we recognize persons like Marcus Garvey and Michael Manley, and the world recognized persons like Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. Fidel Castro is a revolutionary leader and stands tall among the greatest. As we take time to celebrate this occasion, we must thank the people of Cuba who continue to uphold the revolution despite the over 50 years of the continuous blockade. It was Fidel Castro who said, "Revolution is not a bed of roses. A revolution is a struggle to the death between the future and the past." The Cuban people understand that and make it into a reality. Marcus Garvey said, "Up, you mighty race, accomplish what you will." When he said this, he wasn't speaking to the black race only, but to all persons who needed to rise above oppression. I believe the Cuban people believe these philosophies and rise above. We also see the Cuban medical team all over the world that is revolutionizing healthcare. Despite the hardship and the imperialistic plots, the people stand firm. Michael Manley stated that any realistic vision of change must be based on the notion of empowerment of people. Despite the propaganda against Cuba, the people became conscious and the Cuban Revolution became dynamic. Castro's dreams and visions have been materializing to present day. Nelson Mandela said, "When a man has done his duty to his country, he can rest in peace." Fidel has done his duty to his country and the world. The imperialists realize and know that they could not dismantle the revolution as they are afraid of unity among the countries and the people of the world. Therefore, they set out to disunite countries of shining, example Libya, Iraq, and Venezuela. Castro realized from early that for the revolution to succeed, education of its people is of a paramount importance. He even jokingly quoted, "One of the greatest benefits of the revolution is that even our prostitutes are college graduates." I want to thank the JCFA for giving me this opportunity to speak on this occasion of his 94th birthday. 4 years ago on my birthday, the 25th of November, was the day he passed on. The irony is not lost on me that every time I celebrate the day of my birth, I also celebrate the day of his death. Viva, viva, viva la revolución.
Okay, great. I am sure you all want to join her in saying Viva la Revolución Cubana, Viva Fidel. 1, 2, 3, let's hear you.
Viva la Revolución Cubana, viva Fidel.
Great, thank you. Now we're going to move on to Queen Aroba, who is representing the Jamaica Peace Council. Queen? I know she was here earlier. Not sure if she's having some internet problems.
Greetings to all. Greetings, Hope. So Aroba is saying she has some technical issues. Would it be possible for the next speaker to go ahead?
All right. Is Osvaldo in? Thank you. Thank you, Pambano. Is Brother Osvaldo here yet?
Yes.
Okay, great. Fabulous.
Good afternoon, my dear. Of course, it's always for me a pleasure and a privilege to speak on the occasion of the birth of our great leader, Fidel Castro. I was not there in the 26th of July. I was in Cuba, of course, because I was a child at the time. But I had the privilege also of living through all the struggle of liberation of the Cuban people. From the beginning to today, I have been under Fidel leadership for many years. I have also the advantage to have met the main leaders of the revolution, Fidel, Che Guevara, Camilo Cienfuegos, Juan Almeida, the great leaders of the rebel army and the 26th of July, that was the main organization that led the struggle for the Cuban liberation against one of the most brutal, repressive, and bloody dictatorships in this hemisphere. After the victory of the revolution, Cuba has to face many obstacles and difficulties due to the problems that the country has itself because of the underdevelopment and the backwardness. 30% of the population of Cuba was illiterate. The main source of employment was the sugar industry that only provides employment during 3 months in the year. So Cuba has to deal with all those problems and many others. Among them, the constant, permanent aggression and subversion of the US regime against Cuba. The United States was really very nervous about the Cuban Revolution. The Cuban Revolution was a challenge they never had before. And thanks to that, we are here today. Thank you very much for celebrating the birthday of our great leader, Fidel Castro. Hasta la victoria siempre. ¡Viva Fidel!
Viva!
Viva!
Viva.
Viva.
All right, and thank you very much for that correction, Brother Osvaldo. I was adding a few years to your age, right? Sorry about that. So you were part of the July 26 movement, which was formed after the Moncada attack. All right, so that's
I was a member of the 26th of July movement. Yes.
Sorry.
I was a member of the 26th.
Right, you were a member of the 26th of July movement.
But that is after the attack to the
which
Moncada
was formed after the attack on the Moncada. Right. Okay, so we got that straight. And thank you very much. All right. Now we want to welcome Aroba. I think I saw her enter. Aroba, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. My internet is unstable, but if that's the case, I do have a recording in your folder.
All right. Okay, so Sister Pambana, can you cue that recording up just in case?
No, I'm gonna try it and my best and see what happens, okay?
Okay, go right ahead. And please, if you want to be, you can switch to presenter view if you want to be able to see the speaker in the center of your page. All right. Go ahead, Orobo.
Yeah. Oh, may I hear them now? Hold on.
Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon, everyone. A
Still
tribute.
morning in Jamaica.
Oh, where am I this afternoon? Buenos dias a todos. A tribute to Fidel Castro on his 94th birthday. Dear comrades and friends, the Jamaica Peace Council, or JPC, is both excited and honored to be joining with millions of Cubans and people globally to celebrate the 94th birthday of our brother and comrade, Comandante Fidel Castro. We celebrate Fidel's birthday for many reasons. First, because as a revolutionary, Fidel was an ardent advocate of universal peace, without which he was clear that there would be no humanity, no revolution, and therefore no development. Indeed, Fidel elegantly sums up his advocacy for universal peace in a speech he gave in 2003 in Buenos Aires, when he said, "Our country does not drop bombs on other peoples, nor does it send thousands of planes to bomb cities. Our country does not possess nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, or biological weapons. Our country's tens of thousands of scientists and doctors have been educated in the idea of saving lives." Fidel's words in defense of global peace, and particularly his passionate opposition to wasteful expenditures on nuclear weapons, is also a defense of human development, since without heavy investment in healthcare and other civilian projects like education and housing, human development is impossible. In fact, as long as nuclear weapons exist, nuclear war, disasters like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the annihilation of humanity are all real possibilities. Here, Fidel expresses his forceful opposition to nuclear weapons as a threat to world peace. He says, "I hold the opinion undoubtedly shared by all people with an elementary sense of responsibility that no country, large or small, has the right to possess nuclear weapons." Fidel's revolutionary passion for human development within Cuba and internationally is another reason why we in the JPC are so honored to be celebrating the 94th birthday of this human giant. Specifically, Fidel Castro's unshaken commitment to internationalism as a cardinal principle of the Cuban Revolution is another reason why we proudly celebrate the life and works of Fidel Castro, since Cuba's internationalist solidarity has transformed the lives of tens of millions of people globally. The fact is that it was Cuba's internationalism that played a decisive military role in the defeat of imperialism and apartheid in Angola, Mozambique, and Namibia. Cuba and Fidel also played a pivotal role in the liberation of Guinea-Conakry and Guinea-Bissau, among other African countries, including South Africa, particularly after the military defeat of apartheid in Angola. Cuba's internationalism has also trained thousands of doctors, teachers, nurses, scientists, engineers, and other highly skilled professionals who today are the backbone of their countries' development in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Indeed, Cuba's internationalism has been at the forefront of fighting disease such as Ebola in West Africa and now COVID-19 pandemic in many parts of the world, including Italy. So in celebrating Fidel Castro's birthday, it is significantly important for us in the JPC to express our appreciation and gratitude to this revolutionary who not only led and defended the Cuban Revolution for decades, but also who played a critical role in cultivating the culture of internationalism in the hearts and souls of his revolutionary people. Indeed, as Fidel said in a speech at the commemoration of the 32nd anniversary of the landing of the Granma and the founding of the Revolutionary Armed Forces, December 5th, 1991, Fidel said, "Being internationalists means paying our own debt with humanity. Whoever cannot fight for others will never be sufficiently able to fight for themselves." We also salute Fidel for his visionary and courageous leadership against the criminal US blockade, the Bay of Pigs assault, the occupation by force of Guantanamo Bay, and the many other attacks on Cuba nationally and internationally, including multiple assassination attempts against his own life. In fact, he escaped over 600 assassination attempts on his life by the CIA and US imperialism. He once quipped that if dodging assassination attempts was an Olympic sport, he would have had over 600 Olympic gold medals. However, as we in the JPC pay tribute to Fidel on his 94th birthday, among his most revolutionary contribution to humanity, to peace, and to internationalism, his leadership of the Cuban Revolution, not only to capture state power from the tyrannical oligarchy and imperialism, but also to maintain revolutionary power against those hostile classes and racist interests to this day. His leadership of the revolutionary government of Cuba has led to the end of dependent capitalism and significant transformations in the material and spiritual life of ordinary Cubans, socially, economically, culturally, and politically. For example, lack of access to healthcare, education, landlessness, literacy, and homelessness are social ills of the past thanks to Cuban Revolution and Comandante Fidel's stoic leadership. We in the JPC also celebrate Fidel Castro's birthday and life because of his tireless and unapologetic resistance to racism, white supremacy, imperialism, capitalism, Zionism, patriarchy, sexism, misogyny, and other forms of injustice internationally. In this regard, we have no doubt that Fidel would be very proud against the anti-racist struggles of the Black Lives Matter movement in the US and globally, and the continued anti-Zionist struggles of Palestine for their sovereign land. As such, to conclude our presentation, we believe that it's only fitting that in Fidel's name, we call on the US government to end its criminal blockade against the Cuban people, to vacate Cuba illegally occupied land of Guantanamo Bay, and seize all illegal attacks on Cuba's sovereign and legitimate revolution, including its internationally prestigious medical brigades that are saving tens of thousands of lives each year. We also call on all countries that possess nuclear weapons to dispose of them, to free mankind from the war, the threat of war and destruction, and to free up resources to investment in human development, such as healthcare, especially at this time in the COVID-19 pandemic and the devastating climate crisis. Viva Fidel! Viva la Revolución Cubana!
Viva!
Viva!
Viva la paz mundial!
Viva!
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 Bajo con el
Okay.
bloqueo económico.
Abajo!
Abajo. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that strong representation.
Fueron las Yankees del territorio cubano de Guantánamo Bay.
Fuera.
Fuera!
Abajo con los armas nucleares. Gracias.
Abajo.
Abajo!
Thank you very much, Queen Arobo. And thank you for your determination not to allow any internet stability to stop you. And we're so happy that you were able to overcome that. That ends the presentations from our solidarity groups in Jamaica. And so I'm going to hand back to Trevor, and Pambano will share the screen for the next panel. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sister Hope.
Right, and it's Dr. Nation.
Yes, our next moderator is Dr. Hamlet Nation, a graduate of Elam, and he will be looking at the Cuban-related institutions, both here and in Cuba, where Jamaicans have benefited from. Brother Nation?
Morning, everybody. Morning, friends of Cuba. Morning to the leadership team, embassy, JCPS, brothers and sisters, everybody, good morning. Still morning, yes, in Jamaica. So we're going to look at the Jamaican educational ties. The ties that, I mean, one of the major areas of cooperation with Jamaica has been through education. And this is out of the vision of Fidel Castro, that a better world is possible, and a better world through education is possible. And this is a vision that is shared not only by Fidel, but if you talk about Jose Marti, Cuban hero, where education, his focus has been on education. So, and Fidel really just carried on the work of Jose Marti, and it's one of the major areas where Cuba has contributed to the world in terms of solidarity. So we're going to have a few presentations, two of the via video, on the impact of Cuban education on, the solidarity movement in the world. First presentation is from Alexandra Grant. She's a Jamaican student leader, so who's currently in Cuba. It will be followed by Dr. Gina Llewellyn, who is an Elam graduate, and then we'll talk with Mr. Maurice Wilson, who is from G.T. Foster College. All right.
The university, popularly known as Elam, was once a vision formed in the mind of our great Commander-in-Chief, Fidel Castro, Rus, which bloomed into a reality in November of 1998. Despite the numerous challenges Cuba has been facing as a result of the crippling US embargo for the past 62 years, Fidel Castro saw it fit to offer full-ride scholarships to international students to study medicine, among other professional fields, giving us the opportunity to achieve our lifelong dream of becoming world-renowned medical doctors. Each year, Jamaican students are admitted into this program, and we study free of cost and in the same manner as the Cuban nationals. Here in Elam, we are being trained to become doctors of science and morals, médicos de ciencia y conciencia, to be humanitarians, to return to our homeland and give service to underserved communities, and be available to help wherever we may be needed. It is truly a life-changing experience, and we will be forever grateful. The solidarity between Cuba and Jamaica is an ongoing one, where mutual respect and support are exchanged. We wholeheartedly extend our gratitude and appreciation to the Cuban government and medical personnel who have been assisting Jamaica even during the pandemic of coronavirus. The work of Fidel Castro lives on. On behalf of all the Jamaican students in Cuba, I extend sincere gratitude to Fidel Castro for all his wonderful achievements to us, to Cuba, to Jamaica, and to the world at large. We will be forever grateful and proud to be members of his legacy, remaining steadfast in our solidarity with the strong, noble, and proud nation of Cuba. He and his principles will always live on in our hearts. Viva la Revolución Cubana! Viva Fidel Castro! Viva Cuba! Thank you.
It's such an important presentation because what is happening now with the global pandemic, the impact of the Cuban medical brigades across the world, both in the Caribbean, is certainly felt. There are so many countries who would normally not seek Cuba for assistance, who are running to the Cuban revolution, the Cuban government, to get assistance in fighting the pandemic, in trying to secure access to healthcare for their populations. And it shows the vision of Fidel beyond the immediate. So beyond what was occurring at that time when ELAM was formed, and I must say I'm a graduate of ELAM. So it shows that long-term vision, that not only what was happening that time, but look at where we are as a world, that countries have to be going to Cuba to say, you know, we need your assistance in fighting this pandemic. Countries that who would probably not even want to look at Cuba in the past have to come and respect the work that has been done by Cuba in this regard. So we'll have the second presentation from Gina. Gina on. And let's see, is Gina on?
I haven't seen her. I'm trying to get her.
You haven't seen her as yet?
No, I'm trying to get her.
All right, so let us take Maurice, and then we can come back if she comes on. Mr. Wilson.
Fidel Castro, born August 13, 1926. A revolutionary, a politician, and a humanitarian. Gave to the third world the greatest gift, in my opinion, and that was G.C. Foster College. We at G.C. Foster College celebrate this revolutionary and humanitarian leader. The gift of G.C. Foster College to the people of Jamaica has created one of our greatest cultures, which is sport. The institution has been able to contribute to Jamaica on a whole. Various experts in different sporting disciplines. As we all know, G.C. Foster College is one of the premier training institutions in the world in track and field, in other sports, but specifically track and field. We have seen where the institution would have produced athletes who have done extremely well, from Roxburgh Martin, Devon Morris, to Rashid Dwyer, to Anastasia Leroy, Nemish Gay. All these athletes would have contributed at the highest level to Jamaica's track and field. The institution would have also produced some of our best sports administrators in various different sporting disciplines again. But most importantly, we have been able to produce coaches that would have passed on teaching and learning knowledge to all or most of our institutions in Jamaica. One of the greatest meets in the world, which is Boys and Girls Championships at a junior level. 90% of the coaches that produce these athletes have been trained at G.C. Foster College. With that being done, a lot of these coaches migrate to other places in the world and they apply their services, whether it be Dubai, whether it be in the Les Angeles, whether it be in other Caribbean countries, they have been displaying their skills. And so the impact of this gift to the Jamaican people has had far-reaching effects or impact, not only to Jamaica, but also the entire world. The institution itself has now become a landmark in supporting disciplines. The institution has been producing world-class massage therapists, fitness instructors, and other supporting areas in sports which has now created even a greater impact in terms of our performances worldwide. And so we're not questioning, there can be no question of the impact of this great man. And we at GC Foster College celebrate this gift that was given by the great Fidel Castro. And we wish his family and the supporters and the country of Cuba, we wish them the success of having such a great leader representing them. And we also celebrate his life. Thank you very much.
It's so interesting to hear the perspectives of from moving away from health in a way. I mean, sports is related to health, but to talk about the impact beyond health. I think when you talk about Cuba, everybody knows about the medical brigades, everybody knows about the Cuban healthcare system. But when you talk about sports, I don't think a lot of persons understand that a product of our success in sports has been because of the gift of GC Foster and the capacity or the ability to train our sporting professionals and our coaches, etc., that have had a significant impact on our sports industry. If you think about Jamaica, Jamaica is known fastest man and woman in the world. We are known for our schoolboy or champs or athleticism. We are known for that. And a lot of the areas that we are known for are direct relation to the impact and contribution of Fidel on Jamaica. It's so interesting that in the last couple of months, we've been talking about the Michael Manley era. And a lot of these things were done during that era. A lot of the close bonds between Jamaica and Cuba were developed over that period of time. And today we're still reaping rewards from those interventions. I don't know if Gina is on. Is Gina on as yet?
No, I've not seen Gina, Brother Hamlet.
Gina.
I tried to reach her, and in her absence, I'm wondering, as a student, as a graduate of Cuba, if you could just fill us in.
So I'll say Gina's options are more than what I have said already. But one of the things that, and it came out in the first presentation, and it's something that sometimes people forget. When Cuba takes a student from Jamaica, usually somebody from a rural community like myself up in the hills of Mokal, is a bright student in a rural community and gives them an opportunity to become much more than that would have happened if they had remained in that position. And sometimes when I see, sometimes the graduates, sometimes when I see the persons who are going, and I say to them, you have to be able to appreciate the impact of that program. When you go to Cuba, what is shared with you is I got better treatment than some of the Cubans who were there in the system, because you are taken care of, you are given protective services, there are people watching over you at all lengths of the time. The Cuban families would take you in. I still have a Cuban family which calls me their son, and we still communicate. They'll take you in as their family, you know, and that is the impact of that program. So I say to persons, we're in a world now where people can only see short-term impact and you know, immediate gratification. But I must say to you, Cuba has changed my life, and I know it has changed the life of hundreds of Jamaicans. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And I say every day, Viva Fidel, Viva Cuba, because it has been life-transforming for me. So thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to share, and thank you for the opportunity to participate. And I just want to, you know, always support the ventures of Cuba, because I know that the life.
Thank you, my Thank you, my younger brother Hamlet. Sister Hope, can you, I turn over the floor to you.
Okay, all right. And on this panel, we have representatives of two movements in Jamaica. One is Alexander Scott, who is the Communications Secretary of Jamaica Lands. And the other speaker will be Carlos Daly, who is a founder of the recently formed Jamaican Patriotic Movement. We have a recorded message from Alexander Scott, which will start in a moment.
August 13 marked what would have been the 94th birthday of Comandante Fidel Castro. Though he 13 marked what would have been the 94th birthday of Comandante Fidel Castro. Though he left us physically 4 years ago, his spirit lives on, and the revolution he sought to defend remains intact and strong. In these trying times, we see even clearly the wisdom spoken by the great man, and where we must embrace it and put it into practice. Let us rid ourselves of the yoke of imperial oppression and build a truly independent, united, and prosperous third world. Fidel Castro will be remembered not simply for the revolution in Cuba, but also for the fact that he, along with the Cuban people, extended the revolutionary energy abroad, helping to liberate Southern Africa, building schools in Jamaica, providing medical assistance to nations in times of need, standing up for the Palestinian people, or his many writings and speeches. We see where the Comandante and the revolution he led has left its mark. His work on national liberation, self-reliance, internationalism, and the real-world implementation of socialist teachings and thoughts inspire not simply us in lands as a movement, but a whole country to support Cuba against the unjust and illegal embargo. The educational, cultural, and medical missions which operate in our country act as an inspiration and proof to the country that members of the third world do not always have to be beggars, and that we in fact have the potential to do the same, to assist our brothers. The revolution also remains beloved in this country as it has and continues to fight against the scourge of racism, being a welcome home to members of the Black Liberation Movement. The Third World thanks you. Jamaica thanks you. Long live the Cuban Revolution.
All right, thank you very much for that message on behalf of the of lands. And do we have Carlos Daly with us yet, Trevor? Okay, I don't see where Carlos Daly has joined us yet. So we will have to move on and take him when he arrives. But just wanted to just mention that today there are also major celebrations taking place and in honor of the birthday of Marcus Garvey, and his birthday is August 18. And there are several celebrations taking place, also being aired on Area FM. So we have two major persons, one from Jamaica and one from Cuba, who have changed the world in just amazing ways. And we just want to acknowledge that. And also Marcus Garvey had his movement had also extended to Cuba. So two powerful human beings who enlightened and expanded the vision of people all over the world. Handing back to you, Trevor.
Unmute, Trevor. Unmute.
Trevor.
Unmute. Unmute.
Yes, sorry. Yes, our next, the next item on our program is a short video of Fidel's last visit to Jamaica in 1998, if many of you can recall. And we will have it being shown now. Thank you.
Of the Cuban Revolution, of the city of Kingston,
Ciudad de Kingston.
Personal esteem among
Jamaica will continue to give the fullest support in ensuring Cuba's full reintegration within the hemispheric system.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sapambani. And just to add to those figures, there was a 600 figures of Jamaicans, students who got university degrees. But this was up to 1998, and now we are 22 years since. So I think it's safe to say we are about 1,000 or more now. Because if I can just use some personal experience, where in 2006, we had 135 Jamaican students who went to Cuba for education. There were 68 in medicine. There were 35 nursing, and the remainder were in sports, were in other areas of medicine, and so on. So I think those numbers would have been exponentially greater than what we saw there. And we really have to lift our hands and our hearts to Cuba, who, despite one of the most difficult, one of the most barbaric and illegal act of a blockade, still continues to do what they are doing for humanity. Our next speaker, I wonder if that is Carlos. Someone needs to be admitted. Our next panel will be chaired by Brother Michael Hessler, Brother Michael, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. Well, personally, I should preface my introduction to this session by saying that I myself am a proud beneficiary of Cuba's education. I got an opportunity for 6 long years to interact with Cubans at various levels of the society and to know the people much better. And that has enriched me culturally, politically, and in many other ways. So I should say that before going on. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce this next panel. We will have 3 videos from 3 Jamaican luminaries, and I'll just introduce them in the order in which they will appear, as well as we'll have a musical tribute from one of Jamaica's most famous and earliest reggae group, the Scatterlights. So in order of presentation, we will have a reflection about Cuba by Professor Rex Neckleford, who was a scholar, an educator, a commentator, and a former vice chancellor of the University of the West Indies, and the founder of the Trade Union Education Institute, as well as the founder of the Jamaican National Dance Theatre Company. And he himself was a prolific dancer in that company. So he will, through a video, reflect on the importance of Cuba. His video presentation will be followed by that of our late great Prime Minister Michael Manley, who was instrumental in establishing relationship between Jamaica and Cuba, in breaking the diplomatic blockade, so to speak, and in enhancing all the benefits that Jamaica continues to receive up to this day in training of doctors and engineers and whatnot. He will be, through a video, be in an interview with the late Gil Noble, a former ABC journalist with the American news media ABC. And that is terrific. And then after Michael Manley's interview, we'll have a musical tribute to Fidel through the Scatterlight group, through a song that they call Fidel Castro. And then finally, we will have a tribute to Fidel from our former Prime Minister, P.J. Patterson, who will reflect on the significance of Fidel Castro and his friendship with Fidel. Thank you very much.
Okay, may I just interject right here? I'm seeing that Carlos Bailey has arrived. We can take him right after this panel, but there seems to be a problem with his microphone, so we're asking him to check it out. But we'll have him right after this panel. Thank you.
It carries with him a meaning, a signification, which is of tremendous importance to people like ourselves who are the marginalized of the world. And Africa, as a mother country, to so many Cubans, needed to be addressed as part and parcel of the worldwide thing of African liberation.
Right from the beginning, Cuba's revolutionary ideals not only spread throughout Latin America, but also forged strong ties with national liberation leaders such as Sékou Touré, Amilcar Cabral, Julius Nyerere, Samora Machel, and Agostino Neto.
Cuando se produce la invasión de Angola por tropas regulares de África del Sur, no podíamos cruzarnos de brazos. Y cuando el MPLA solicitó nuestra ayuda, le ofrecimos la ayuda necesaria.
In 1975, as Angola moved towards independence from Portugal, the CIA, along with the apartheid government of South Africa, tried to bring down the new Angolan government. At the request of the Angolan president, Fidel sent 36,000 troops to keep the South African forces from attacking Luanda, the capital. For many Cubans, whose ancestors were African slaves, the fight in Angola was a way to repair a debt to history.
Ustedes son los del regimiento, ¿verdad? ¿Qué tiempo llevan por acá?
Llevo poco tiempo.
Poco tiempo. ¿Tú de dónde eres?
Santiago.
¿Tú?
Santiago.
Veo muchos santiagueros aquí, el regimiento se llama de santiaguero. ¿Y tú de dónde?
Ciego de Ávila.
Ciego de Ávila.
In 14 years of war, over 300,000 Cubans, doctors, teachers, and engineers, as well as soldiers, played an important role in Angola. More than 2,000 lost their lives. In 1988, Fidel sent in more Cuban troops for the decisive battle at Quito Cuanavale and directed operations from Cuba. The defeat of the South African army drove a large nail into the coffin of apartheid and helped advance the struggle of the South African people.
Una derrota en aquellas condiciones hubiera podido significar el fin de la Revolución Cubana. Y todo eso ocurrió después del 75. Pero hay que reunir todo el material y eso. Pero nosotros no hemos escrito ni siquiera la historia de la Revolución Cubana.
Had it not been for the Cuban presence in Africa, and in particular in Angola, the history of Africa would have never been what it is now. One of the greatest friends that Cuba has is Nelson Mandela and his appreciation for what the Cuban people did and Fidel Castro. But I think if you don't understand that history, then you'll never really understand the enormous success and the importance of the Cuban Revolution.
Is very, very fundamental to us. It's a non-negotiable item on our agenda. We start from certain positions of principle. One, Cuba is our nearest neighbor. Two, Cuba is a member of the third world like us. Three, Cuba fights at our side for changes in the world economic system. Four, we find Cuba the most principled country to deal with. They operate on a basis of respect for sovereignty and non-interference in other people's internal affairs. They have an internationalist policy that if you say to them, come and be my friend, we think you have certain skills that are interesting. We think you've done certain things that are interesting. We would like to have a look at what you've done. Would you like to cooperate with us in a field? They say, fine. If you don't want to cooperate, they say, fine. We have long since understood that they are on a particular path of development that is obviously massively supported by their people and which is a product of their objective circumstances. Their revolution arose out of the horrors of one of the worst tyrannies the world had ever known. And a lot of their experience is conditioned by that fact. We are a totally different thing. We had a different kind of society, different traditions. We had a functioning plural democracy. And we're on what we call our democratic socialist path of development, which has certain points of similarity with theirs, but very substantial points of difference with theirs, and we respect each other. But even more important than all of that, and this is what is non-negotiable to us, Cuba is a legitimate part of the world and this hemisphere. And it has one of the most legitimate governments in the world because legitimacy is a function of popular support and nothing else. Nothing else legitimizes except the people. And no country, in our view, no country has the right to impose sanctions upon Cuba or any other country that has legitimacy. To us, therefore, it is non-negotiable that Cuba must be accepted as a full, free, and untrammeled member of the world community and the hemispheric community. And if that is not so, we can't make it so. I don't say this in arrogance. I'm talking about what we stand for, not what we can make happen. But what we stand for, we will not move over, and we'll pay any price for. And, you know, looking at it from a practical point of view, you could say this. If you can do that to Cuba because somebody doesn't like the Cuban Revolution, then how do I know that you don't do that to me tomorrow? Because you don't like something that I do.
Would you say then that this is a reason why you are dissatisfied with the absence of sanctions against South Africa while there are sanctions against Cuba?
It does not. Well, I'm not an easy person to embitter, but that makes me as near to bitter as anything in the contemporary world. It's something that I said in Maputo, actually, at a conference to which I was invited this year, that it really is a tragic commentary on human values in the world, that there are still sanctions against this really very brave and brilliant social and human experiment which is taking place in Cuba. Even if you don't agree with the methodology, it's a remarkable experiment. And you can leave sanctions against that country and apply not one, well, they're not talking about an arms embargo, but not one economic sanction against the ultimate leper of the international community, South Africa.
The Jamaica-Cuba Friendship Association deserves our loud applause for organizing this splendid occasion to mark the 94th anniversary of the birth of President Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro was a giant in the field of political leadership. From the earliest, he committed himself to the fight against imperialism and racism. He also emphasized the need for the building of human capital, which enabled him to work with a number of developing countries, including Jamaica, in the development of programs which were beneficial to the masses of the people of our respective nations. I had the pleasure of working with him over a number of years. During the time I was foreign minister under the government of Manley, and subsequently when I became prime minister. Fidel was a man who empathized with the problems that were being experienced in the developing world. He did not hesitate to give bilateral assistance wherever the need arose, and that was always done without asking anything in return. Fidel Castro will never die. His spirit, his invincible determination to fight for equality of sovereign countries in the world of today will never be abandoned. As we look at current events, COVID-19, we in Jamaica are benefiting directly from the expertise which Cuba has accumulated and made available to us without strings or conditions. As we embark on a new phase in the global struggle, we miss his inspired leadership, his courage, and his ability to assert in clear, intelligible, and commanding terms what were the requirements to build a just and equal society. I will miss him forever as a brother, as a friend, as a compañero. Long live the spirit of Fidel Comandante Castro.
Okay, can we take Carlos Daly now from the Jamaican Patriotic Movement, founder of the Jamaican Patriotic Movement. Carlos Daly.
What Fidel meant to you as a student teaching, studying in Cuba, how it changed your life and so on. All the whole scholarship thing that was there.
Carlos has joined us from his phone. I don't know if he's having any difficulty with sound. I think, Trevor, you're calling Carlos?
Yes. I just got Gina.
Oh, you're speaking to Gina. Okay, yes. I was in communication with Carlos by chat, and he let me know that he has joined by his phone. I am not sure. Carlos, could you please send me a message in chat if you're having a difficulty with the microphone, because we're not hearing anything.
Can we take Gina now while she's in?
Okay, yeah, go right ahead while Carlos sends us a message in the chat.
Gina, you're in, Gina.
Carlos.
Hello, hello. Morning.
Good morning, Gina.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a little caught up with the kids, but I'm here.
Okay, glad you could make it.
Glad I could be here. Thanks for the invitation. Me receiving a scholarship to go to Cuba was definitely a life-changing moment. I can't begin to say all that I have learned from living with Cubans, reading about the history of the revolution and everything. Taught so much, learned so much. I'm extremely grateful. Right, but one of the things that really stands out is just compassion and helping others in any way you can, reaching out, right? As we can see, Cuba is like the role model for that, with all the brigadas that are sent out all across the world to help, even now in COVID pandemic and in other times. And we're just really grateful, and we celebrate the life of Fidel Castro. You want to say something? Say hi. All right, thanks much again for having me.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Great. Let me just check. We haven't had a reply from Carlos. Okay. Trevor, over to you.
Please unmute yourself, Brother Trevor.
Yes. Yeah, I was just saying to Sister Hope, I want her to take the next, introduce the next moderator for the panel. And the panel.
Yes, please go ahead. We're not getting Carlos.
Yeah. No. Hope I'd want you to do that. Can you?
Oh, you're asking me to introduce the next panel?
Yeah. No, you, but never is a person, just to segue into it as the co-host, you know?
Okay. Never has left us because he was here earlier.
No, Never is here.
All right. Never.
But I just want you as the co-host.
I hope. How
Okay,
you doing?
great. So our next panel, we will be looking, we will comprise a representative of the Cuban Medical Brigade in Jamaica, Dr. Jose Armando Arante. He's actually the coordinator of the Cuban Medical Brigade in Jamaica, and also Homage Alexi Turueyes Sao. How did I do on that? Anybody can correct me. All right, and he's a Henry Reeve Medical Brigadist who has served in various countries and on the African continent, including during the Ebola epidemic. And Neville, I think I totally took over your role. But please,
it seems so, because Lorenzo is calling me same time.
Right.
I was just trying to tell him that he should join us.
But please put your strength into it, because you have a stronger voice than I do. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, good afternoon now to all the participants of this excellent program. And I'd just like to mention that, you know, Aruba did an excellent job. I was the person who invited her to the team, and I'm very proud of her. I'd just like to just point out that I am a product as a doctor of the Cuban Revolution, in terms of I studied in Cuba in 1970, started in 1978, now 42 years. And of course, my comrade and friend Mikey Eslap was there with us at that time. It is extremely important to recognize Fidel's 94th birthday, because Fidel embodies the new human being that was introduced in the 20th century. And Fidel, in terms of his intelligence, his compassion, his ethical values, his understanding of the human being, and the futuristic part of the Cuban revolution, and how he resolved each issue within Cuba to transform Cuba into a powerhouse in terms of human values, and economically, Cuba is able to sustain itself despite the blockade. And Comrade Armando, who is a doctor and head of the Cuban group inside Jamaica, and he is one of those persons that you see is ever energetic and ever coming to both the Cubans and the Jamaicans in terms of assistance. So Armando, without much more ado, I turn it over to you to give us your perspective of this great human icon, Fidel Castro, on his 94th birthday. He is dead physically, but his ideas live on and on. Armando.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. Today is a very special day. For that reason, I want to say thank you very much, Fidel. Thanks to Fidel and to the Cuban Revolution, I was able to graduate as a medical doctor, even though my family was very humble. Thanks to Fidel, I have a son who is at this moment a dental surgeon, and my daughter is studying the third year of the medical school medicine career. Thanks to Fidel, I had the opportunity to offer my help to sub-Saharan Africa in Namibia, and where I had to face malaria, HIV, and tuberculosis. Thanks to Fidel, I participated in a partnership between the University of Illinois in Chicago and the Cuban Ministry of Health to identify the causes of the high infant mortality rate in the African American population of the south of Chicago. I have the privilege of being with Fidel in the creation of the Henry Reeve contingent in September 2005. I especially remember that on that moment, we were ready to travel to the US with more than 1,000 health professionals to help the people of New Orleans for the damage caused by the Katrina hurricane. Finally, and thanks to Fidel, today I'm offering my solidarity help to the broader people of Jamaica. We are working with 433 Cuban professionals at the 4 regions and 14 parishes here in Jamaica. This year, 2020, we have carried out more than 236,000 consultations. We have saved 4,331 lives, more than 194,000 nursing procedure has been performed, and more than 3,400 surgeries have been performed too. Then, brothers and sisters, you will understand that I am one of the grateful ones who said, "Thanks, Fidel, forever." Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Armando. And I must say that your work in Jamaica and the Cuban group is exceptional. And I'd just like to just mention a few statistics, that right now Cuba has more than 1,000 medical professionals all over the world treating the COVID-19. And Cuba has had one of the lowest infection rate and the lowest death rate for a population of 10 million people. In fact, the lowest in the world right now. And in terms of that, Cuba's healthcare system is one of the best in the world, despite the blockade, despite being a poor third world country. So, Armando, you are a shining example of Fidel's dream of what the world can achieve and what poor and oppressed people can achieve if we have a vision, we have an excellent leader, and we unite together. So back over now, our next speaker. So we'll have Fidel now speaking on doctors, not bombs, and then we'll have
bombas contra otros pueblos, ni manda miles de aviones a bombardear ciudades. Nuestro país no posee armas nucleares, ni armas químicas, ni armas biológicas. Las decenas de miles de científicos con que cuenta nuestro país y sus médicos han sido educados en la idea de salvar vidas. Estaría en absoluta contradicción con su concepción poner un científico o un médico a producir sustancias o bacterias o virus capaces de producir la muerte a otros seres humanos. En nuestro país se hacen investigaciones para curar enfermedades tan duras como la meningitis meningocócica, la hepatitis, a través de vacunas que produce a través de técnicas de ingeniería genética, o algo de suma importancia, la búsqueda de vacunas o de fórmulas terapéuticas a través de la inmunología molecular. Perdónenme si he empleado esta palabra técnica, quiere decir a través de métodos que atacan directamente las células malignas. Y lo mismo, unas pueden prever y otras pueden incluso curar, y avanzamos por esos caminos. Y ese es el orgullo de nuestros médicos y de nuestros centros de investigación. Decenas de miles de médicos cubanos han prestado servicios internacionalistas en los lugares más apartados e inhóspitos. Un día dije que nosotros no podíamos ni enviaríamos nunca o nunca realizaríamos ataques preventivos y sorpresivos contra ningún oscuro rincón del mundo, pero que en cambio nuestro país era capaz de enviar los médicos que se necesiten a los más oscuros rincones del mundo. Médicos y no bombas. Médicos y no armas inteligentes de certera puntería, porque al fin y al cabo, un arma que mata traicioneramente no es absolutamente un arma inteligente.
Again, comrades and friends, this is an example of Fidel understanding of the future. And as we are going into the next phase, we must recognize that with COVID-19, Cuba has been not only forefront with medical doctors and nurses and health professionals, but Cuba has produced interferon that has been now used in many countries of the world, especially those very ill patients who need, and it has been proven to be very effective. And you notice, even though the WHO has not really pushed so hard and to recognize interferon, it is being used and is being effective. The Chinese, the Italians, and even Jamaica were considering it. We are considering it as we speak. But key thing is that as Cuba, we have not heard as much about the development of the vaccine, but we are sure that Cuba has the capacity and we are waiting because we know the world will not be able to buy the expensive vaccine from Oxford and the United States. But I am saying that during this time of elections in Jamaica, to which I believe shouldn't have been called because of the threat of the continued infection of COVID-19 and that people will be moving all over the country. But whatever government is formed, it is so important that we even deepen our relationship with Cuba in terms of partnering for this pandemic. The developed world is not gonna help us as much. So in fact, they are looking to earn more money from us through this pandemic. So as we really look into this session, and we are going to call on Dr. James Alexa Terreo Sao, who is going to was served in various countries, and including Africa, and now for the John Reeves Brigade. So the Reevers Brigade. So it is very important, you know, that we recognize Cuba's contribution. So, Dr. Sao.
And Dr. Graham, his first order of business is to pronounce his full name correctly for us. Could you please
Dr. Jump.
Or Yum Shamsi, no.
Armando, you can pronounce it.
Yes, of course. He's a registered nurse. His name is John Alexei Terreyes Sao.
Okay.
I can remember this Sao.
Okay, it's a beautiful name. You just have to get the tongue twisted in different directions.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
From the right.
Right, and I know I've seen his
Reeve
name in the
Brigade.
chat. It's actually spelled a little differently from we have it because it starts with a Y. All right.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay.
he's available?
Yes, I see him registered. Dr. Yamch Sao.
Dr. Sao,
Go ahead.
you're, please speak.
Yes, his microphone is open.
Thank you, everyone.
Open your mic. His microphone is open. Okay.
Yes, his microphone is open. So not sure why we're not getting him.
We are waiting for him.
Hey, probably you hear me better now?
Ah, yes.
Yes. I'm seeing you too.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me to our very important contribution of the Cuban Medical Brigade. And it's an honor for me just to be present in this part of the trio of our commander, Fidel Castro, in his 94 years old. Well, I can tell you that I grew up with the Cuban Revolution, and I was part of the whole Cuban educational programs until the university. In 2000, I was graduating by registered nurse according to the Cuban program for the Cuban population, and a free studies and a free like Cuban assume everything for us. Well, many years of history Cuba has it, but I can resume a little concerning to health. I was graduating in 2000 as a registered nurse, and I get the opportunity to contribute my country, working in it on my first year of labors. After that, I went sending to collaborate with Trinidad and Tobago health system to carry up very county population and very county and single people who living outside the big capital of Trinidad and Tobago, in a small and far place from the capital. Like as our commandant said, that we can go any dark places in the world that some people needed our help. And I was there working for 2 years, but was good. Everything was good. And then in 2014, when the WHO was claimed for people to helping of the Ebola epidemic in the Africa continent, we say yes, we are ready to go because we continue with the preparation that we given before, and we given an advanced step to bring help all the people that are needed. And then I get the opportunity to be in the first 250 doctors and nurses specialized in catastrophes and integrating the contingent Henry Reeve, and we went to Africa, Sierra Leone, in the first step, and we get a good preparation before and after when we went to Africa and we went to Sierra Leone. We, in my case, I'm talking right now in my person, I was assigned in a small village more than 300 miles of the Freetown capital of Sierra Leone. Small village, no electricity, no health system, no nothing. We offer our service with a little brigade of 40 persons, doctor and nurses, and we improvise a little place to attend persons sick by Ebola in that moment. person that was dying like flies, and very, very poor attention, and very low system of health. And our Cuban Medical Brigade went there, and we assumed this Ebola treatment center, and we worked for more than 6 months. And we helping children, pregnancy women, ancients, all kind of level of people. It doesn't matter religion, it doesn't matter economical position. Because for us, person being sick is only the important thing. And we did the homework, we did our work, and we are very proud of that, because we given help like our Comandante Fidel Castro teach us that we are prepared to bring in the help and to bring medical services for everyone that need it, as in any part of any country. It doesn't matter the country, it doesn't matter the religion, it doesn't matter the position. Help is help, and everybody needs to get a healthy health. Thank you very much for the invitation. And here we are in Jamaica, giving services again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's so important that we recognize the Cuban internationalist help, not only in medicine, but in engineering, in culture, and in other areas of human development. I myself recognized, since I was there, Cuba taught me so much, not only my career as a medical doctor, but as a human being. And the Cuban people, as Doctor had said before, I had my tia in Cuba. Even now, when I return to Cuba, I have my old friends who we have contact with, we go out together. And I am also so grateful of Cuba being, I've been a patient at the Hermanos Almajeros Hospital, the Caribbean School of Medical Sciences. Students we have been gone through an important training in Cuba, and that has been so important for their development. We think that the experience in Cuba developed more professionals with that human touch. And so you and Armando, you are shining examples of what Fidel says, that Cuba does not export bombs and smart military arsenal, but export smart doctors, engineers, nurses, for the development of poor communities and countries and people. So it is so important that we celebrate the life of this icon. So Hope and Trevor, I think this is my session. We are going to, I'm going to turn over to you to introduce the ambassador. And so I just want to say how proud I am to be part of this this meeting today. We get better every time. So I am looking forward for the next time around, because this solidarity movement is so important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Graham. And before Trevor actually introduces and before we start, before you introduced Ambassador Inez Forrest Fernandez. I don't know about you, but that testimony by Dr. Yomish Sao brought tears to my eyes, and I gather that it did to other people too. But, you know, when we hear of the Henry Reeve Brigade going across the world to provide medical services to people in remote areas, but that description just brought it home to us graphically. You know, they were in a small town where there were no doctors, no nurseries, no facilities. They had to establish makeshift facilities in order to treat the people. And as you said, people were dying like flies from the Ebola disease. And so it's such a travesty for anyone to even refer to the medical brigade in any unsavory terms, because it's amazing and it's absolutely heroic what they do. And I just want to just salute them for what they do, because it is just absolutely amazing. Thank you. Just checking if Carlos Daly is able to speak. I sent you a message in the chat through Signal, but I didn't see anything. We're hoping to really get your comments as a new organization in Jamaica that I know is friendly to Cuba and very supportive of Fidel, as well as supportive of all our heroes here in Jamaica. And it would have been great to hear you. So next time, I hope you can join with a computer, because often the telephone, sometimes we are unable to hear persons who try to speak on the program using their telephones. Not all of them work very well. So I'm going to hand over to Trevor, who is now going to introduce the ambassador, who's going to give the main address. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Hope. Fidel lives. That's the only way I can put it. That what we are seeing reflected in our brothers from Cuba, what we have seen in the kinds of solidarity actions that as Jamaicans we express, broadly speaking, students studying in Cuba, graduates of Cuba, regular Jamaicans, shows that Fidel really lives in very serious kinds of ways. And I will just confine my comments to that Sister Inez, our ambassador, dear Cuban ambassador, epitomized the fact also that our brother Fidel lives. Sister Inez?
Morning, could you hear me?
Very well, very well.
Yes, we're hearing you well and seeing you well.
Okay, okay. My dear brothers and sisters, mis hermanos y hermanas, good morning, buenos días. I would like to start by expressing my most sincere thanks to the Jamaica-Cuba Friendship Association, which have made possible this excellent virtual conference. When memories regretting on the story of this celebration in Jamaica, it has to be said that in spite of the pandemic, Jamaica solidarity movement with Cuba kept its loyalty to Fidel Castro and honored him on the occasion of his 94th birth anniversary. This year, the ceremony is dedicated not only to celebrate the 94th anniversary of the Commander-in-Chief Fidel Castro, but also to recognize the 50th anniversary of the Henry Reeve medical contingent founded by the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution. I still describe Fidel in present time. He is the Commander-in-Chief of the truth, of the highest standards of transparency. His confidence in the people, his tested solidarity, his natural eloquence, his hope for the future, his willingness to work and build, leave no doubt. Fidel Castro is still alive within us, in our thoughts and hearts. It's not possible to forget a man who returned Cubans the dignity denied for centuries, who made sure all of Cuba could read to ensure that ignorance did not prevent understanding, who made the happiness of children the homeland's first priority, with no exclusions of any kind, offering all the right to shine as who they are and not what they have, who demolished barriers so no human being might believe him or herself superior to others, who trained doctors for Cuba and the world. Fidel is also leading the Henry Reeve medical contingent. When he conceived this international medical brigade, he was aware of its importance in responding to pandemics and natural disasters. Difficult challenges would come to validate Fidel's foresight. Earthquakes in Pakistan, Haiti, and other countries, Ebola in West Africa, and more recently, COVID-19, a virus that within a few months' time has taken the lives of 500,000 human beings. In recent months, this international aid team sent over 3,000 health workers to fight the pandemic in 40 countries in Latin America, the Caribbean, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Today, with tens of thousands of our professionals offering solidarity, healthcare and humanism in more than 60 countries, expression of gratitude to Fidel and recognition of Cuba appear in the most remote communities among all segments of the populations in many different languages. Fidel Castro is still alive in each of the lives that our doctors save. It explains why many people of goodwill around the world are advocating the awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize to Cuban doctors in the Henry Reeve contingent, in spite of the defamation campaign by the US administrations against Cuban internationalists. I'm sure the truth will prevail, because the truth I will say it again. I'm sure the truth will prevail because the truth is its own power. Dear brothers and sisters, allow me to conclude with the poem of Oda a Fidel, sung to Fidel, written by the Cuban poet Carida Oliver Labra. Thank you for your dignity. Thank you for your faithful rifle, for your pen and your paper, for your male groin. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for everything, Fidel. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Inez. We are at a very well, the entire program is important, but here we now have our cultural presentation with about 5 of our exponents, and I'll be asking my co-host to take the floor on this one.
All right. Okay, and we have the pleasure of presenting this aspect of the program. We will have one live performance, and that is by Sister Dr. Amina Blackwood Weeks. And we will have recorded presentations by Aquaba Drummers, a lad with his new recording, Justice, and Brother Luis Felipe, actually Dr. Luis Felipe of Venezuela, and he will be presenting one of his compositions. And lastly, we will have a dance by La Cadco, and they refer to it as Divine Unity, and it is presented as a United Caribbean Dance Force performance. All right, so I'm going to ask Sister Pambana to take it away. Or first of all, do we have Amina Blackwood Meeks here? Because hers is a live presentation. We can take that one first.
I'm trying to get her.
Is Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks here?
No, I've been trying to get her. I haven't gotten her yet.
All right, so we can move on with the recorded presentations. And if she joins us, then we will take her after.
Oh.
So this first piece is by a lad.
Tell me, where are you hiding, justice? All my life I've been searching for justice. So where can I find my justice? Oh, justice. And I was born in the ghetto, no fault of my own. Inherited nothing, parents unknown. All my life people use me, mistreat and abuse me. See, living this life isn't easy when there's no justice. Justice. Tell me, where are you hiding, justice? All my life I've been searching for justice. So where can I find my justice? Oh, justice. They sent me to the courthouse. They said justice would come out. And I beg and I plead, no justice I didn't see. And I spoke to the judge, but he showed me no love. Is it because I'm poor? Why justice won't come to my door? Justice. Tell me, where are you hiding, justice? All my life I've been searching for justice. So where can I find my justice? Oh, justice. Hard to live without you, makes me sad and so blue. And I know not where you're gone, makes it hard to carry on. Justice, I need your mercy. You see they're trying to hurt me. Come hiding from every direction. Justice, I need the protection. Justice, tell me where are you hiding? Justice, and all my life I've been searching for justice. So where can I find my justice? Oh, justice. 400 years of blood and tears. 400 years of whips and spears. And I say 400 years of pain and tears. 400 years. I need justice.
I'm sure you're delighted by that performance by Elad, and I think we have a duty to ensure that we circulate that. I've just shared the YouTube link to that song and urge everyone to really copy it and share it themselves in your various groups. Let's help it to go viral, because all over the world people are looking for justice. And as Elad says in that recording, justice, where are you hiding? Because obviously justice is hiding from us all over the world. So yes, share that. Love this song. Please encourage it. Let it go all over the world. Let it go viral. All right. Pambano, can you take us to the next one, please? That's going to be the Aquaba Drummers, this dynamic drumming ensemble.
Greetings, sorry, Comrade Hope. So I have Luis Felipe. Let me set that up.
Okay, and I'm putting the link to that performance via Aquaba Drummers in the chat as well. And they waxed Spanish. Isn't that beautiful?
Despertaste para soñar con los ojos abiertos y ahora me da miedo dormir porque durmiendo los sueños tienen fin. Mientras despierto lo hacemos eterno. Mientras despierto, lo hacemos eterno. Patria y le pusiste cielo llenándolo de estrellas que germinan desde el suelo. Y ahora eres mi patria en la que siembro esperanza para parir luces engrandeciendo el cielo, para parir luces engrandeciendo el cielo, para parir luces engrandeciendo el cielo. Tú, quien siempre sentiré, sentiré, sentiré por completo, sentiré, sentiré por completo. Aniversario de Fidel Castro ruso. Un tributo también para los médicos cubanos, merecedores del premio Nobel. Mi nombre es Luis Felipe Bellorín. Participo en nombre de la Red Mundial de Intelectuales y Artistas en defensa de la humanidad y la paz. Para mis hermanos cubanos de Jamaica, bolivianos, chinos, rusos.
Beautiful. I'm sure you love that. And much thanks to Dr. Luis Felipe Bellorín for that special tribute to Fidel Castro on his 94th birthday. I have put the link to that recording in the chat as well, the YouTube recording, as well as I placed the link to Aquaba drummers in the chat. So please, guys, boost these this great music from all our contributors to this program, who are just so absolutely willing to allow us to use their compositions during this program. And Pambana, we have another one coming up. La Cadco.
L'Éternel est mon berger, je ne manquerai de rien. Il me fait reposer dans de verts pâturages. Il me dirige près des eaux paisibles. Il restaure mon âme. Il me conduit dans les sentiers de
that was Divine Unity by LACADCO, the United Dance Force of Kingston. And it's always a pleasure, you know, it's always so enthralling to watch LACADCO performances. You know, the strength of the dancers, you know, their grace and their flexibility, and also their surprise transitions. And what's beautiful too is the kind of music they select for their dances. You know, it captures the rhythm of our people. So that was really beautiful, and we really thank her for allowing us to use that in tribute to Fidel today, Divine Unity, which captures what Fidel created, both in terms of Cuba and in terms of the global relationship that he forged, moving from a country that was isolated to one that is embraced worldwide. Thank you, Trevor, for allowing me to present this section of the program. Of course, Trevor won't tell you that he made most of these connections. So good job, Trevor. Thanks. Made all of these connections, actually. Over to you.
Thank you, Sister Hope. And just to say for our Cuban brothers and sisters, Lantonette and myself and a group of Jamaicans, we actually were at one of the Fiesta del Fuego in Santiago, and there's a plan for one of the festivals to be dedicated to Jamaica. So she will be part of it. It's something that we've been working on. And when that happens, and when all of that has been put together, we'll let you know. So it's my duty to say thanks. But first of all, the biggest thanks that I want to say is thanks to our Cuban brothers and sisters of sharing Fidel with us here in Jamaica and the world. Because if it wasn't for that giant of a man, both in size and intellect and everything, we would not have been here and listening to some of the very heartfelt things that people have been expressing about Fidel. I had the opportunity twice in my little life on earth of meeting this gentleman, and I remember the first time I decided I was not going to wash my hands when he first came to Jamaica in 1977 and so on. Following year, I was fortunate at the festival, World Festival, I encountered him again. So thanks to the Cubans for sharing Fidel and all that he represents that is good in humankind. And to follow up in thanking the presenters, there's a list, and I think they know themselves, those who came late and those who for the most part were here. And one of the things I should also say is that one of the consequences of our unstable internet is why some of our presenters saw it this way than actually linking into the forum here because of the possibility of it being dropped. Thanks to the moderators, thanks to us, I have to put myself into that, the audience that really were important to the event being what it is. Our brothers at the Cuban embassy, or they'll tell me that, oh man, that is just part of our work. And Sister Highness, they were also part of that team and they know themselves that really, you know, it was a stretch for us. Because if you can recall, between our last event, which was the 26th of July celebration, and now, a mere 2 weeks, 2 Sundays that elapsed. So, you know, it took a lot for us to do, thanks to the more creative people, to Amina, to Antoinette, to Eloy, to Luis Felipe. And I know my sister Amina must have a very good reason, because she was the very first one who said, yes, Trevor, you know, be nice. And just to say that I had asked for Amina specifically to present an item that she did when Fidel transitioned to be with the ancestors, and we had that celebration of his life at the Police Officers Club. So I know she must have a good reason for not for us not hearing her this evening. Before I leave though, there are two very important items that I want to raise. One is the blockade, or if we use the term of the Black Lives Matter and the international struggle that has taken hold of the world and so on, and we connect that to Cuba, that even though there won't be in the UN this year a vote against the blockade, but it still is a very important and pertinent subject that we have to keep alive in whatever way and shape or form. There was some ideas that I really want to discuss with my rest of compañeros and compañeras about how we can do to keep this blockade issue alive. And secondly, the issue about the Cuba and the Nobel Peace Prize is very, very important. The nominations are for next year, February, and there are guidelines that they are asking for certain categories of individuals that we would like to share. I think we'll find a forum to share, because we are connected to people in very, very different ways that would fit into these groups that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee automatically accepts, and so on. So I will close in saying, Viva Cuba, Viva la Revolución, Viva Fidel, until our next meeting, which should be soon, Sister Hope.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying until our next meeting, when we'll try and get you together again.
Right.
In one such forum that we try to educate and to strengthen and to build the unity that is necessary in order to struggle and to resist against the empire and its underlings. Thank you again.
All right, and just adding my my thanks to Ambana as well for her superb, I put it in the chat, preparation and execution of the technical presentation. She really went the extra mile, and we really need to applaud her.
Yes.
That's what she put in to make sure everything worked well. Thank you.
Yes, we'll have to adopt her.
It was nice to just kind of watch you do this.
Yes, yes, and she's getting better at it under your guidance, Sister Hope, I should say.
Absolutely. And thank you so much to
We're all learning from each other.
Yes.
The Cuban Embassy and team for translating, for providing such impactful videos. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to Cuba and your revolutionary process that's just so dignified and beautiful. And as Sister Hope said, brings tears to our eyes and deep gratitude.
Thanks for sharing Fidel with us.
Okay. All right. So we're going to stop recording and also, but give us a few minutes for all of this to work out, and then we can have comfortable chat.